Welcome to another Down the Rabbit Hole video. Doing a Friday drivey, which I haven't done for a while. I've described on previous driveys why I do this, what it's all about. Big thanks to Steve Benway, who originally came up with the Friday video idea, which a few of us have been doing. This is my particular take, totally stealing from Steve's idea of driving around in an open world. In this case, it's Burnout Paradise, and there's a reason I'm actually doing it in Burnout Paradise here. But I just wanted to kind of touch base and talk about why I feel the need to do a video. First of all, I'm driving in this vehicle that's a little bit reminiscent of a show on TV, and you might be wondering, well, isn't that a little insensitive in this modern era where the flag that's on the top of this car is maybe a little frowned upon? Luckily, this is DLC for Burnout Paradise, where instead of having a certain flag on the top of this well-known car, what they decided to do was actually change it to a Mexican flag. I don't know if you can make it out there. No doubt I'm going to crash at some point, and when I do, you'll be able to make out that it is in fact a different vehicle, a different type of flag. And the reason I'm doing this particular one is because it's just past May. Cinco de Mayo just happened a little while ago, and I thought, you know, I never really get a good opportunity to drive this car. And I thought, well, I'll use that Mexican connection and Cinco de Mayo and all that stuff as a good excuse to drive this particular vehicle. I may have also mentioned in the making of these that I'm actually doing this to get those red signposts, because there's a trophy if you get them all, and I keep going past them. And in other Friday driveys, I've been spending too much time talking about the subject matter and not actually trying to get those red signs. And now I'm heading out of town, and there's no signs to be seen anywhere. Oh wait, there's one way over there. Okay. How am I going to get to this? Because the ones that I've hit are burned out. Now hang on. Whoa. How would I get this one? I really want to make... Oh, okay, you must have to launch yourself off those stairs. Really want to get that trophy. That's the thing I like about Burnout Paradise. You can just kind of noodle around and waste time. It's an open world environment, and if I can get up those stairs, maybe, no, totally messed that up. How else do you get up there? Wait a minute. How on earth would you get that one? They are challenging. There's got to be a way to hit that sign. You know what? Let's find another one. Let's go down in here. Oh, there's one over there. Okay. How do I get on there? I need to be on that particular stretch of road, and then I can smash through. Okay, hold it. Oh, wait. Okay, I need to be... Come on, turn around. Okay. Wow, this is not going to be an easy one to get to. I got to get on that little central island there, which is going to mean jumping off that thing up there, which is on the other side of this. Oh, jeez. Let's not bother with that one there. Unless I can do it from here. Can I get over there? No. Totally not happening. Well, maybe I'll just stick with my previous plan of just driving around, talking to you, and hoping... Maybe I can do it this way? No. Hoping I do just accidentally land on some of these things in such a way that I can do the jump. Oh, and there goes the car. Alright. Now, why am I doing Burnout Paradise? Other than my usual reason of just trying to get these trophies, and I just enjoy driving around in this world. I first got into the idea of if I'm going to do a Friday drivey or a sort of noodling around type of a show. Okay, wait. That one I can do. That one I can totally do. Yeah, I totally got into the idea of if I was going to be doing a Friday drivey type of a show, what would I play? I would play Burnout Paradise, and the reason is I was listening to a podcast, Giant Bomb, and they talked about how what they really always liked about Burnout Paradise is the fact that it's not going to hit that window. That it's just an open world. You can just sort of mess around and not even do any of the races. You can just sort of enjoy the scenery. And I'm going to just do that now because I don't think I'm going to hit these flags. But I was listening to Giant Bomb just a little while ago, and they got talking about how after there's obviously a sign I got before. They got talking about how after a while some games lose their best before dates, as it were. You know, they don't have the access that they used to have, and so they've actually started turning off servers, and this is a game that's going to have its servers turned off. I'm going to go around again here. Come on, let's go and get this gate that I didn't get to. So very soon, this is on the PS3, and I'm actually using the Nijicon to drive in here. Because the PS4 does not do, I mean, there is a Burnout Paradise Remastered Edition, I think it is, for the PS4, but you can't use this Nijicon control scheme, and I really like using the Nijicon for this. I've talked about that before. But unfortunately, Giant Bomb mentioned, yeah, they're shutting it down. You're not going to be able to, you'll still be able to play the game. But any online races, any of that stuff that you enjoy in Burnout Paradise is just not going to be possible anymore. And I was just like, oh, well, okay, you know what? That deserves a drivey. That deserves me getting in here, driving around, and enjoy this wonderful game, even though I won't be able to do the online features of it anymore. I still get the trophies, and that's really my primary drive, no pun intended, in playing this so much. But yeah, it's unfortunate. It looks like this is going to be the end of the road, again, no pun intended, for Burnout Paradise. If you wanted to do any of the races and stuff, play the PS4 version. I've been in here before. Play the PS4 version. That'll be around for a little while, I'm sure. Okay, that one you have to go up into that building. Hang on, let's turn around. I have to get into that big thing on the side there with all the parking. And then I can smash through and get that red sign. So let me just concentrate here. I am forever rambling away, which is really what these videos are. I mean, oh! Okay, let's try it again. I'm forever rambling in this, and that is what the purpose of this sort of a drivey video is, but when I'm claiming, oh yeah, my objective is to smash through all those windows, those paradise signs, I end up not doing so. I want to really make an effort to get that happening. Okay, so don't go so fast. Let's turn in here, or not. Maybe there's another way to do it. What's this way? Aha! Okay, wait. Get in there. Okay, if you go in there, can you then... There's a guy chatting away. Oh, here we go. And hit it! And I... Jeez! Why did I... Oh, you know what? I didn't hit the turbo. Okay. I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to continue my discussion here. Got to go to the other side. So, the other reason I'm doing this video is basically to say I'm back. I did, for those who have been subscribed to my channel and been watching the last half dozen or so, I did a big trip to Norway, which was awesome. Primarily to see where they filmed The Empire Strikes Back, because it was 40 years ago that they did that. Get it! Yay! There we go. All that work just to get one smash. Yeah, so went to Norway, had a great time, and I wanted to tell a few more little anecdotes from that trip, because it was awesome, and got that one as well. And if you hear scratching going on, that's Tig, our cat, running around while I'm doing this, so just ignore it. Yeah, Norway was awesome. Really had a great time. That was something that I've been kind of thinking, wouldn't it be fun to do someday ever? But as a kid, I just thought, okay, well, that's so far away, and I'm never going to be able to afford to do it. It'll have to remain a pipe dream forever. And as the time went by and we started doing the other Star Wars, like I talked about Death Valley, I just thought, well, maybe the time is right to actually do Norway. I mean, we've got the cash. We'd actually been saving up for a few years. That's the other thing. It was one expensive trip, and we knew it was going to be that before we got there. So we had actually been saving up quite a few years, and things kind of turned around. Got into a situation with work where I was just like, I'm going to hold off any crazy expensive trips for a while. That all got sorted out very happily, and I just thought, I think it's time to pull the trigger on that and actually do the Norway idea. So let's do it. So we took the money we've been saving up and headed out there. Now let me just get up into this building. Oh, you can't. You got to be up on that roof. How on earth do you get up on that roof? All right, let's go around the building and set off alarms. Maybe in here. Go. That's a really strong fence. All right. I'll come back to that one. Oh, and yeah, so I think the second Friday drivey I ever did, I got talking about Facebook because that was very much in the news at the time. Mark Zuckerberg was in front of Congress about people's privacy, which is something that really hasn't been properly addressed or completed. And on my video where I got talking about what my opinion is about all that news, I did mention, or I hinted, there was a thing that happened that really surprised me as to the power that Facebook apparently has. But I didn't want to go into any details because I thought, well, it's a surprise. Now I can reveal those details were the trip to Norway. We had actually bought our tickets, or not bought our tickets yet. It was almost a year away, and in fact, I think it was last summer was when I did that driving. But my wife was smart enough to check the hotel, because you can only stay, as I talked about in my turning Finsa into Hoth, you can only stay in one hotel, and she decided, you know what, it might be a good idea to just see if there are any rooms available, and they were already getting booked up. So she said to me, if we're doing this, and we hadn't really definitively decided we were, because I got us squared away with work and get the time off approved, etc. But if we're doing this, we better book our room now. It's always, you can cancel, you can get your money back, etc. But let's at least put in a reservation. And I thought, right, that's a smart idea. Let's get on there. So I took my credit card, I logged in on her laptop to their website, or I emailed them, I think it was. No, I went to their website, that's right. And I booked a room. And I paid for it with my credit card, and all was fine and good. Then I went back to my own computer in my sort of office area, and, oops, wrong button. And I've logged into Facebook because I wanted to just keep in touch with my friends and family the way I do on there. And the weirdest thing was I had an ad posted in my Facebook feed for, since you're going to Finsa, here's some other cool places in Norway you want to check out. And I was really surprised at that. I'm not really surprised now, but I didn't get the connective tissue there. How did they know? Because I did not sign into Facebook on my wife's laptop, and she goes to other websites than I do. How did Facebook connect me booking a hotel on their hotel website for Finsa, and then go back to my own computer and Facebook knows I'm doing that trip? That's pretty impressive. I mean, it's scary for those who are really concerned about privacy, and if so you are, please don't use Facebook, because they are really, really bad on the privacy side of things, as per Mark Zuckerberg going in front of Congress. I wasn't so much concerned about that. If somebody really wants to spend the time and effort following my boring little life, then good luck to you. But I was just more interested in, from the technical point of view, how did that happen? My wife's computer has a different cache of temporary files. My credit card isn't in any way combined with Facebook. I don't purchase anything from the Facebook store with my credit card. How did they know from me booking a hotel on a different machine? I mean, it's the same house. Are they somehow tied into my IP address that my internet provider gives, and therefore they know, well, someone in that same household has booked a trip, and therefore we're going to shove ads for Finsa in your hotel, or, sorry, in your Facebook feed? Was that what was happening? I think honestly that is what it is. I think, and I'm sure there's experts or privacy folks, maybe somebody's watching who can sound off and tell me, yes, that is definitely how it works. They know somebody in your household is planning that trip, so darn it, they're going to shove your Facebook feed full of ads for places you want to go and check out while in Norway. It's like, well, interesting, a little scary, but there you go. And yeah, that was something I had alluded to. Oh, there's one. How do I get to that? You gotta be on that cliff. Okay, how do you get up that cliff? Oh, I think I see the entrance over there. All right, let's swing over here. Here it is. Okay, build up some speed and turbo it. Yeah, there we go. 39 out of 120. Man, this is gonna take a long time to do these. But yeah, that was the Finsa thing. That was that Facebook thing that I hinted at my second drivey, how something really shocked me, but I at the time didn't want to give away. Oh yeah, we're going to Norway to film the Empire Strikes Back stuff. Interestingly, I recently did a little experiment. Again, anybody who's into IT and into kind of the privacy side of things, you probably know, but I don't know if the average viewer knows. If you've got a Google account, and if you're on YouTube, yeah, you've got a Google account. If you are signed in, oh, shut up. If you're signed in and you actually navigate to google.com, hey, I got a trophy, right on. See, I don't have to smash all the things. I can just drive around and I'll get trophies randomly. If you go to google.com/dashboard, you can actually see what it is that Google is keeping track of for you, where you've been, what you do. Anytime you use an app that says, oh, Google or Android or whatever would like to use your current location, do you allow? If you allow, then yeah, they're going to put a little marker on their map and say, right, you were here at this time. Whee! So I just thought, okay, well, clearly, oh, yeah, I got that one too. Clearly, I've pushed that, yes, you can allow to check my location somehow, and that's how they know. But I just thought, okay, well, what does Google, yikes, what does Google know about me? Let's go to google.com/dashboard and just see what they say. And weirdly, I don't know if anybody's been following me long enough. A couple of years ago, I went to London because I'm a big Assassin's Creed fan. I'm going to talk about that toward the end of this video. But I really love Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and my wife and I went around London. I put on a top hat, and I reproduced scenes from the game and actually stood in the same place that historically occurred on. And that was really fun. One of those locations was Old Spitalfields Market in, I think, the eastern part of London. I'd have to look on a map. It was a really cool location. It exists in the game. It looks very different in the modern era. But we were there. And for some reason, the Google dashboard said that was its last known location for me. And I thought, whee! Oh, wow. That was pretty fun. I just thought, okay, well, if that's how you know where I am, your information is way off. Like, I've been way more places, ouch. I've been way more places than the Old Spitalfields Market. Why is that the last note? I don't know. And you know what? I didn't even have a cell phone there, so how did you know I was in Old Spitalfields? Doesn't matter. Not important. But I was kind of like, this is a strange turn, but regardless. I will get back to Assassin's Creed toward the end of this video, as I mentioned. For now, I need to take a little drink of water. So how was Norway? It was great, but it was expensive. I would highly recommend anybody thinking of taking such a trip. You're going to have a great time. The Norwegians are awesome. I have many positive things to say about them. Lovely people, lovely country, but it's expensive. It's in the top 5 most expensive countries in the world. We went to a not particularly fancy place for our first meal, and a couple of basic servings of pasta ended up costing us $65 or so Canadian. Like it turned out to be a real eye-opener. And the following morning we had a similarly rather expensive breakfast, and we just thought, we've only been here 24 hours and we've already racked up a $200 bill. We got to be careful. So that was an eye-opener. If you're willing to really cut corners, I did notice, like, they do have Subways and they do have McDonald's. You can manage at those places. I don't know that your arteries would thank you for that, but the prices in your typical Subway or McDonald's in Norway is about standard price of where you would be, what you would be paying in other parts of the world. So if you really dying to do Norway, and actually we did our research before we did the trip. We thought, how bad are we getting ourselves into here? There are some very good videos on YouTube of folks who have done Norway on a budget, and it is quite doable. You can go to Rema 1000, which is their main grocery chain, and you can buy very reasonably priced groceries. Some of their stuff's a little pricey. I mean, you gotta kind of be careful, but it can be done. If you're not aware, I never saw the Paradise City sign before. If you're not aware, in Europe, the majority of the countries in the European Union use the euro, which is fine. But there's some old standouts like Britain and also Norway who have decided or have arranged with the European Union, we're sticking with our own currency. So we had to go and get ourselves a big stack of kroners, and that was an interesting experience because kroners whereas in Canada we have dollars and cents, and you might buy a chocolate bar for $1.25. In Norway, it's all just kroners. I think a candy bar would be, I don't know, let's say 10 kroners. And that threw us for a loop a few times. We would go for dinner, the bill would be several hundred kroners, and we'd go, oh my God, that seems like a lot of money. And then we'd be like, no, wait a minute. 1 kroner is worth about 15 cents Canadian, so the rule of thumb we had was, you know what, anything we see for a price tag, just divide it by 7. So, for example, we went to a couple of museums and it was 100 kroners to get in. And it sounds like a lot of money, but that's like a $10 or $11, $12. Yeah, I'd have to do the math, but I'm driving a car right now, so that's the thing. You have to put yourself into that sort of mindset of how much is a kroner worth. A funny experience I also had, one of my co-workers was very impressed. He's a big Star Wars fan. Very impressed with the trip to Hoth and all the shenanigans I got up to there. He was talking about it at work. He's like, oh my God, have you seen Kevin's video about his trip to Hoth and The Empire Strikes Back? And one of the other guys sitting nearby was like, really? Where was that? He's like, oh, he went to Norway to do it. And this guy was saying, you know what? My wife's family is from Norway. And I said, oh man, it's a beautiful country. You got to check it out. He's like, I've been meaning to go, but I really can't convince the rest of the family. I said, why? He said, well, they're not very adventuresome when it comes to food. And boy, have I got a funny story about that. And there's another, oh wow, another trophy. I got 200 of the smashed gates. Good, all right. This is definitely turning out to be worthwhile. Only another 196 to go. Yeah, so not adventuresome with the food. And I've actually posted a video about some of the unusual stuff that we ran into when we had traditional Norwegian fare. So if you're worried about what it's like eating in Norway, we did our research before we went, as I said. There were quite a few people that we saw who were being funny about, how weird it is. These are people who live in Norway. These are Norwegians talking about their countrymen. There was a girl we watched who said, Norway's so weird. We're all a bunch of weird people. We have this weird way of talking, and we're very strange. And we really love pizza. And I thought, okay, she's being funny. Then we also saw a guy who is actually a comedian, I believe. He did a whole going around Norway and actually buying groceries. And even he said, yeah, well, don't worry about going to Rima 1000. Don't worry about doing any grocery shopping. All we eat is pizza. And again, oh, there, I'm fixed. Again, I thought, oh, they're being funny, facetious. You do a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek joke when you're in front of the camera, right? No. We noticed on every street corner we went to a pizzeria in both Oslo and Bergen and Trondheim and all the other places we went. And we thought, maybe there's something to this. And every bus depot would have a pizza ad, whether Delicio you could take home and cook in your own oven, or a Pizza Hut or whatever. And we thought, okay, I guess they've got an affinity for it, but maybe it's not that bad. For me, the eye-opener was when our last night in Oslo, we decided we would, we're walking around the pier area, and down there they had one of the chain of Jamie Oliver's Italian restaurants. And we thought, we could really go with some Italian. Even though we had had pasta before that ended up being expensive, we've been here a few nights now, so we're not being quite as panicky. I was being panicky about the money, but as a general rule, we were letting ourselves live a little. We thought, well, let's go to Jamie Oliver's because we know we'll get good quality Italian fare there. So we did. And we had, I think, carbonara and can't remember what I had. Some kind of really, really fine meals. The kind of thing that Gennaro, who Jamie Oliver partnered with, or he was his mentor as a younger cook. Get it! Yes! Haha. We were making sure we were ordering stuff in the restaurant that Gennaro would be proud of. Here's my old family recipe for this risotto, or whatever. We were making sure we were ordering something that made the stay in Jamie Oliver's Italian restaurant worthwhile. And then I noticed everybody around us was eating pizza. And I'm not even talking like a family of four with, a bunch of kids that are just deciding, I just want to eat pizza. No, there was a table of, I think, business people at one side of us. They were all in, business attire. There was this, a couple of guys in suits and a lady in a power dress. They were obviously headed somewhere, and they were having a nice dinner either before or after their event. And they all shared 4 pizzas. And standard, garden variety pepperoni stuff. Not even a fancy pizza. I said to my wife, well, it's true. Norwegians just love their pizza. I thought that was such a weird experience. And they have a rich heritage of unusual kinds of meals. Why would they go for that? I don't know. It made for quite a funny eye opener for me. Oops. Another rather funny one here. So our last night in Finse, we had determined the way to get out, as I mentioned, is by train. And we looked on the schedule. When we were buying our tickets, we looked on the schedule and we noticed that the first train, or a train that would be convenient after a nice breakfast, was also one that would stop somewhere, and we would have to change platforms. And I thought, I don't know, like, we've been lucky that we've been sticking to major cities like Oslo and Bergen. We don't even know if people in Trondheim are going to speak English. What's going to happen when we get on this little platform in some obscure valley? Maybe we'll go for the next train, the one that's actually at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It means hanging around Finse a bit longer, but hey, it's Hoth. I'm a big Star Wars fan. That's not hard for me to do that. I can definitely stay in Finse till the latter half of the day. After we had checked out, we got on Wi-Fi just to see, you know, when we come out of the train station in Bergen, where's the hotel? Well, it's down in the pier area. No problem, I have it on Google Maps. But I'm not zoomed in to the point where I can make out street names. But it looks pretty straightforward. And so I was saying to my wife, well, we'll probably get there about 7 o'clock or so, and we can, you know, just walk up here. It should be pretty straightforward. And she was a bit concerned. She said, well, it's going to be kind of getting dark. What if we end up in the bad part of town? And I kind of laughed. I said, well, I mean, it's Norway. Do they even have a bad part of town? We'll take a chance. We'll risk it. So we get out there, and yeah, lo and behold, the rest of the other people on the train have all parted company, and we're wandering through the streets. How did I get to that sign? We're all wandering through the streets. We've kind of lost our way. We're looking around. It is getting dark after all. And I thought, okay, well, we'll get to where there's a bus stop, because you always have street signs and a kind of a bird's eye view of where you are. We'll be able to get our bearings if we just get to a bus stop. And I'm kind of saying this in a loud voice because my wife is about 20 feet ahead of me. And this very nice young lady walked up, spoke English, and said, I'm sorry, are you having a hard time finding are you lost? And we said, oh yeah, we're trying to get to this hotel, which is part of a major chain. And she looked at our map, and with the Google Map image, she was like, oh yes, sorry, no, you need to go down this road over here. Then you're going to see the bridge and the pier areas just beyond it, and your hotel is on the end. And we said, well, thank you very much. And she said, you're welcome, and off she headed. And my running joke for folks has been, that's what you call getting mugged in Norway. You're going to have a very nice young lady help you out with your particular question. Again, the Norwegians are lovely people. In fact, I would almost call them Europe's Canadians. They're so nice and quiet, and I mean, obviously there are nasty people everywhere. I'm not going to go out on a limb and just say you're never going to have a bad experience if you deal with Norwegians, but our experience was fantastic. Those people were awesome. I will conclude with both one of my first experiences of what it's like to be a Norwegian and also one of our last experiences of what it's like to be a Norwegian. When we were flying in, we took a flight from Vancouver here in Canada over to Amsterdam. We had a little bit of time to get from one part of the Amsterdam airport to where our flight to Norway was going to happen. And you had to go through another checkpoint, not really security, but, you know, just getting your paperwork all in order. So we're standing in the line, and there's a bunch of Dutch fellas all up there checking people's papers. And we're about to go up to get our papers checked, but the aisle next to us, there was some kerfuffle going on because this lady had these 4 Dutch officers all standing there with furrowed brows explaining she has to get her paperwork straightened out. I think, from what I could gather, she was claiming to be American, but her English wasn't very good. She had a child with her, and the paperwork was not saying that... she was claiming that child is hers. The paperwork wasn't lining up, and these guys were very politely explaining to her, if you want to proceed to your destination, this all has to make sense. You know, they were nicely dealing with the situation, but they were scrutinizing her particular situation. And it had me a little worried. I was like, oh man, they're really strict here in Holland. I hope our paperwork all makes sense. We walk up to the guy in front of us waves us through, you know, come on, let's see your papers. And I'm a little nervous. I hand over all our stuff. And he basically takes one look at our passports, our destination, our boarding passes, and he essentially said, this isn't word for word, but the gist of what he said was he looked at us And he said, let me get this straight. You're from Canada, and you're going to Norway. Yeah? Just go. Just go. What's the worst that you could do? Like, I got the impression of you're going from one completely harmless country, and you're going to another completely harmless country. Don't worry about it. Yeah, off you go. No problem. I just thought, okay, well, that's a relief. I guess that's a good sign. And again, I'll follow it up with our last night. We were staying in Trondheim, where I got that awesome hammer. And we were at a really nice restaurant that there we go. From my Norwegian food video, the one where we had the bacalao and I had that clap cake bread. That was a really nice fancy restaurant in Trondheim, and I actually had somebody comment, did I hear Spanish in the background? Yeah, lo and behold, a couple of tables over from us were some Mexicans. I don't know if they were students that were checking out Norway or what, but there was a whole group of them. They were having a great time, and I will never forget the reaction of the waitress, because she was serving them and us, and she was just making polite conversation. And these Mexicans were saying how they were really loving Trondheim. They loved the look of the place, and the weather didn't bother them because they come from a hotter place, so they quite enjoy the cooler, wetter temperatures. And the waitress kind of looked at them with the funniest, the kind of expression only a Canadian would understand. She just said, what are you doing in Norway? Like, why would you come here? Why would you waste your time coming to such a boring little country? And they thought it was hilarious. I smirked. I'm just like, yep, I know that feeling. So it was a great time. It was a great experience. And I just have to say, honestly, Norwegians are Europe's version of Canada. We felt very much at home the entire time. I thought it was a stereotype joke about how everybody in Norway and probably Sweden is blonde. I'm here to tell you, it's kind of true. Definitely almost every woman we saw was blonde. I thought it was so strange. I am normally one to fly in the face of stereotypes, but honestly, everywhere we went, all the women were blonde. That waitress that night in Trondheim, I mistook her for the girl at the front desk when I was paying for the meal. I thought, oh yeah, you were helping us out with that bacalao. She's like, no, that wasn't me. And then I realized, oh shoot, it's a different girl, but she looks exactly the same because she's blonde. You know, it was it's a very strange experience for me. So I don't know. Big crash. And then we keep going. All right. Well, on that note, okay, I'll stop with my Norway tales, but it was very expensive, but man, it was worth it. And my wife asked me, the day we were out in the snow playing with the AT-AT figures and doing all the Star Wars stuff, she turned to me at one point and she said, is this a bucket list moment for you? And I said, yeah, kind of is. I've dreamt about Norway and Finse and Hoth since I was a little kid. Seeing The Empire Strikes Back, back in 1980, to have actually been in some of those places. Not all of them, as I discussed in She Is Right. Don't try and do Hoth. But I did enough of them, and I was very, very happy. That was a really great trip. Bit pricey, but you know what? You can't take it with you. And we've actually managed to square away all the debts that thing cost us, so it was worth it in the end. And think of the experiences now, all this stuff that I'm sharing with you. Anytime I'm watching The Empire Strikes Back, I can just sit there and smile and say to myself, yeah, we were there. That was awesome. So I'm going to kind of wrap things up here. Just to say, I've been sharing all my Norway videos with you. It's going to be back to kind of more business as usual here on my channel. Oh, nice. Are you kidding me? I missed that sign. Well, I'm not going back now. Anyway, it's going to be back to the video game stuff and the food tasting stuff, although I did that in Norway. But I just wanted to kind of let you all know that we're back to business as usual on Down the Rabbit Hole. And yeah, I thought a Friday drivey would be a nice way of a palate cleanser. Back to the back to the arcade stuff. I might actually fire up the Atari 2600 first. But before I go, one final little note. I had mentioned about Assassin's Creed, just again on the whole subject of a European trip. A little while ago, as you know, the Notre Dame Cathedral caught fire and was very heavily damaged, and that's very sad. I really feel for the people of France. I've been to France back in the 80s. I didn't get as far as Notre Dame. I went up the Eiffel Tower, and I saw the Arc de Triomphe, but not Notre Dame. And it's very sad what happened there. I hope there is some kind of reparation that can occur, or restoration. And actually, that's where the Assassin's Creed thing comes in. There's been a few folks talking about how the developers, when they were making Assassin's Creed Unity, the awful French Revolution one for the PS4, they had to recreate... And there's another trophy. Man, I'm just knocking them down tonight. When they were making Assassin's Creed Unity, they had to 3D render Notre Dame fully as best they could. And they spent weeks and a huge amount of research to make the cathedral recreated in the game. And now there's been some talk about how when they're going to restore the actual cathedral from all this damage, they're going to use the Assassin's Creed Unity information. They're going to use that game engine and that 3D model to restore some of it. That's partially true, but it's not the whole story, actually. There was a really good video on, is it Rooster Teeth, or is it, no, it's Inside Gaming Daily. I watch those guys because they do a really good daily news show, but there was another one. It wasn't the main hosts, it was another fella who was talking about this rumored they're going to use Assassin's Creed Unity to rebuild Notre Dame. It's not entirely true. There is an engineer who had done some very, very strong research on scanning and building a 3D model for Notre Dame before Assassin's Creed Unity came out. And his model is accurate to something like within 5 millimeters, I've heard, in various sources, including Giant Bombcast, who... are kind of the reason I'm playing Burnout Paradise here. Woo! Ouch. Good timing for me to get a drink. Alright, yes. Giant Bombcast also mentioned they're not really using Assassin's Creed Unity for the purpose of rebuilding Notre Dame. However, on this Inside Gaming discussion, they go into that, and they did actually say, well, that is true. They are using that engineer's model, but they are using the Assassin's Creed one to kind of get the feel of what it was like to walk around in Notre Dame. Like, they've got the ability now with this guy's scanning work to recreate and rebuild, I guess. I don't know if they're going to choose to do it, but they are going to actually be able to, if they want, actually model the Notre Dame Cathedral back to its original glory if they so desire. They've got the technology, they've got the capability. But what Assassin's Creed Unity might provide is sort of the ability to easily walk around in as a little character and, you know, see what it's like with the light coming through the windows and get a feel for what the level of shadow is like. Like, there is actually some contribution that Assassin's Creed Unity is actually going to make to that project. And I thought, okay, well, in that case, you know what, since it's not just somebody wanting to claim, oh yeah, see, video games using for something positive, there's a genuine element to that. And I think, you know what, I'm kind of glad, especially since I am an Assassin's Creed fan. It's nice to see something really positive being used from the game. It's not just rhetoric. It's not just people talking about it to try and make a point. It's genuinely true. They're really going to do something with Assassin's Creed Unity that's going to be helpful, and I very much appreciate that. Is that the... that's the junkyard. I don't want the junkyard. I need to repair my car. It's in bad shape. I might actually play Assassin's Creed Unity now. When I got Syndicate for doing that London tour, I actually bought it opening, or the night. Okay, there's the repair shop. Okay, hang on. Whoa, 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 whoa. I bought Assassin's Creed Syndicate the first night it was available from my local EB Games. Just because I knew I love London. I've talked about that before. And I love the setting, and I love the look of Assassin's Creed Syndicate. I was very happy with that game. Top marks, if anybody's thinking of maybe playing it, definitely do so. And because I was buying it opening night, the night of release, the guy in EB Games is like, here, we're going to give you a free copy of Assassin's Creed Unity. And I'm like, but I don't want Assassin's Creed Unity. I didn't say that. I was like, oh, well, thank you. I think maybe he sensed my lack of interest. And he said, well, we're just doing it because it's a promotional thing. Since you bought this is only the release nights that we're doing this. But here you go. Here's a free copy. And it's been sitting in the packaging ever since, collecting dust. I had no intention of playing that game. But since, as I've talked about with other videos, the Assassin's Creed sort of overall game series has gone in a direction I'm not totally on board with Origins and Odyssey. I don't have a strong desire to play those. I do have Unity, which is more the style of Assassin's Creed game I like, with the cowl and the sneaking around. It's just sitting there, and maybe I will play it, and when I do go into the cathedral for Notre Dame, maybe I'll take an extra moment and appreciate that, and sort of feel like, hey, this has been worthwhile. So yeah, I like that. That's sort of where that has gone, as a tribute to the Assassin's Creed series and video games in general, and how they can be quite genuinely something positive. Anyway, gonna close this off now. Yeah, this has been a very long drivey, but this was one that I had a lot of stories to tell. And I will be doing more of my standard video game fare, etc., for the upcoming future. Until next time, we'll see you down the rabbit hole.